I'm Mike Darda.
And I'm Andrew Darda. And together, we're the founding agents for the Compass Real Estate Office in Cape Coral, Fort Myers, and the Beaches.
With over 31 years experience selling real estate right here in Southwest Florida, we've had the privilege of helping over 4,000 families buy or sell their slice of sunshine.
Here we are, June 2025, our fourth podcast market update for the Cape Coral, Fort Myers area. And so we're getting, actually you were just telling me the sales they're decent, they're happening, right?
Yeah, they're happening. They're steady, they're consistent, they're not over the top or, bailing us out of this mess. But they are consistent, so that's nice. We're seeing consistent sales throughout the islands, Cape Coral, Fort Myers, and the surrounding areas, Estero, Bonita. So consistency is key right now.
Yeah, well, it's good to see. I know there's a lot of press about real estate in Florida, and it's not always positive. There was a couple clients that have been bringing up that Wall Street Journal article that came out a few weeks ago saying they were ranking the markets in the country that had the biggest price increases year over year. Almost all, I think all of them were Northeast.
Right, we weren't on that list?
We weren't. No, it was Northeast and Midwest was the cities that were going up in value the fastest year over year. And they named the cities that were going down the fastest. We were actually number one on that list. That was 7.5%. They labeled the Fort Myers Cape Coral market is dropping year over year. Some other cities on that list were Northport, Tampa, Lakeland. So a lot of Florida cities on that top 5 of depreciating cities. What do you think about that?
Texas was on that list as well, and I found it kind of interesting because there was an article, I think back in January and February, and I don't remember who put it out, but named Charlotte County as being one of the softer areas of the market, and Lee County being as that was the number 2. It looks like now we have usurped them, and we're number 1, they're number 2, and why do you think so many of the areas that are softest, according to that Wall Street Journal article, are in our area, are in Florida, and then even Texas for that matter?
Well, the theory is that these were markets that kind of boomed in the pandemic era relocations, and part of the result of that boom is the prices then jumped way up.
Yeah.
Okay, and then when prices jump up, what else jumps up? Taxes jump up. And of course, in Florida, the insurance took a big leap as well. And then you add all that up, now there's less relocations happening. So the thing that was driving all that is slowed down as people, see it's more expensive to live here, and also people a lot of employers aren't letting people work at home as much as they used to. So that's dissuaded people. And then the builders got in the game, right? They saw, everyone's moving here.
Yeah.
So everyone ramped up new construction, and that created an oversupply also. So all these factors combined have made it where there's just, for every buyer in the marketplace, there's literally 8 sellers that are trying to sell a home.
Oh wow, that's not a good ratio at all. But and all of that makes sense, right? So we were, Florida, and I'd imagine Texas as well, were a big hotspot for relocating buyers and work from home buyers. A lot of those companies have called their employees back over the years. Affordability, I never really thought of it that way. Higher prices, higher taxes, insurance, everything else has gone up.
Not to mention rates, that's
Rates,
double what it
prices.
was in the pandemic.
Yeah, I mean, everything that it takes to buy a house and afford a home has gone up. And then, then you think about all the other things with the rates and the buyers leaving our market instead of coming here. It's just a recipe for high inventory and lower sales.
Yeah, so that has sidelined many buyers that are waiting for the interest rate mainly to come down and prices to come down, which they are creeping down. And the hardest hit though has been condos. That's arguably they've had the worst of this. Their drop in Florida year over year has been about 9% compared to houses at 7.5%, and that has created its own issues. And a lot of that people blame on the fact that they made these rules right around safety, and you have to do the improvements. It's mandatory, so associations doing that were assessing homeowners. We've heard of assessments as high as $100,000 in some of these Gulf front condos, and that is scared buyers away from these condos, not to mention rising maintenance fees and association dues, because insurance is up as well for those guys. Right? So that's been a challenge also.
I know we've had good success selling condos this season, and even into the summer months, but it has been a challenge. Being an agent trying to market and sell a condo, it's been a challenge to get them across the finish line. Buying buyers, it's taking more time, it's taking a lot more showings, and I think one of the feedbacks I hear from realtors and from buyers looking at condos is they're considering single-family homes too. A lot of those fears or the costs involved in a condo are causing them to. They may have started off as a condo buyer, but they're also looking at single-family homes as an alternative now because of that.
Absolutely, yeah. And the state has recognized that that's a challenge, so they have relaxed some of the rules around these safety standards. For example, they now let associations get funding to finance these improvements and structural improvements. They've also have found that they're going to extend the deadline. I guess it was they had to have it in place already. Now they say you got till December 2025 to get that in place. So a little breathing room anyway, but I don't see any of that really changing the condo market because the forces at work are still there.
Yeah, it almost seems like a little too late. But we'll see.
Yeah, and so some interesting things that happened in the market here. This last month we saw just shy of 1,000 homes, 999 homes sold and closed in Lee County last month in May. But one stat that was very interesting to me is the number of homes that didn't sell. We actually saw 711 homes come off the market. Compare that to the year before, there was 499 homes that came off the market the same month the year prior. So it seems like a lot of people taking their homes off the market or just didn't sell, and I'm sure a percentage will come back on at some point.
Yeah, I'm sure a couple of them will come back on during the summer months. And then others probably next season. We'll see that same rush of inventory that hits our market every season. And one of the things we're hearing from a lot of sellers too is that just kind of throwing in the towel, and they're either staying put or they're putting their properties up on the market for rent. So I think that's going to be a lot of inventory shifting from the sales market and into the for rent market.
Yeah, we've seen that, and that's also driving rents down slightly as well. I think the average in Lee County's $2,300 a month versus $2,400 a month a year ago, about a 3% decline there. But we also see there are homeowners that put their house on the market and bam, it sells, right? In 2 weeks or less.
The lucky ones, huh?
Well, lucky, or there's a strategy to it.
And that's, I think that's the point. I think a lot of our viewers would like to know what are the difference makers between the homes that sell in a month or even 2 weeks, because there's quite a few of them. And what are the ones that sit around in the market for 6 months or sometimes never sell at all?
Yeah. I mean, well, we know there's always price, right? That's the obvious one. Condition is an obvious one.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't think about this, but is it accessible? Is it easy to show? Or does it have tenants that are in the way, or vacation rentals that you can only show at certain days? And then, of course, the obvious one, marketing, is also part of it. And looking at the ones that sold in 2 weeks or less, because we have that happen, about once a week we'll see something like that happen in our office. So I kind of looked at those and said, what made the difference on those is I found some things in common. One was that they priced it in line with the most recent pending and closed sales, or they priced it to be the lowest or second lowest priced home on the market for whatever type of house it was. So the pricing obviously was a huge part of it. The second thing that we noticed was that they were in great move-in ready condition, and if they were an older home, they were updated. So there was no work involved with these houses. They were ready to go. And then the third thing, of course, is they were easy to show, just no restrictions whatsoever to get inside of them.
Makes sense. I think back to some of my sellers who've been very successful selling their homes in less than a month, or we even had a couple fortunate sellers who've sold in a week or two and even closed within a month of coming to the market, if you can believe that. When I think of those sellers, I think of really clean, I mean, not perfect or new construction homes. These are regular lived-in condition homes, but they're good condition. They've had some updating done. There's no major improvements needed. They're move-in ready, and even if they're occupied, these aren't vacant homes, they're just easy to show. Whenever a buyer and agent requests a showing, the owner confirms it, agent gets in whenever they want to, and all of that is added up to success for those sellers. Whenever I see a home sit around, it usually needs more work than its competition. It's maybe like the 4th or 5th lowest priced home for the type of home that it is. And I've also seen that those homes can have tenants in them. They have owners who, and I get it, life gets in the way, but require 24-hour notice or a couple of days notice. That'll throw it off, or even tenants. So
There's always another house to see. They don't have to wait, right?
No. The idea back in the day was, well, if I propose a different time, maybe they'll adjust their schedule. They're not adjusting their schedules anymore for the seller. I'm sorry, if you're trying to reschedule a showing or you're putting massive restrictions on your property, they're just moving on to your competitors. You're making it easier for them to sell other homes than yours. It's just the facts.
One thing that's interesting is you see, all the sellers know, that the market's not what it used to be. Yet somehow everyone thinks their house is a little better, right? It's in a bubble, it's somehow worth more. And those are the ones we see sit on the market a long time, don't we? Right? They put it 5 to 10% above market value. We know prices aren't exactly going up right now. So what inevitably happens is we see multiple price adjustments with those listings. And you could see them in the MLS. They're sitting there 4, 5, 6 months or more on the market with 3 or 4 price reductions. And the other mistake we see is even the reductions they're making, they're small. They're not really meaningful reductions, like a 3% or a 2% reduction. When's the last time you got excited about a 2% off sale at Macy's?
Yeah.
So that's something that to get ahead of the market, instead of chasing it down, you just got to really make a meaningful price adjustment, don't you?
Right. Well, I think the first meaningful price adjustment you can make is just pricing it right to start.
Absolutely.
Then you're not having to chase. You're already there. But even those homes sometimes still need to adjust to refresh the listing or to get ahead of the competition. And we've done study after study within our office for our agents, for our sellers, and for ourselves. And we've noticed that in our market, there's anywhere between 160 to 200 reductions every 24 hours. And that's a lot. So this whole idea that you can drop the price $1,000, bump it up to the top of Zillow, yeah, maybe for a few minutes before the next 160 homes reduce their prices that day. So, that game doesn't work anymore. What we're playing is the long game, the marathon, not the sprint. So you have to make meaningful adjustments that get us ahead of not the list, but ahead of the next 160, 200 homes that are going to drop their price today, or the hundreds or even thousands that are going to drop their price this week. So it's more of a strategy than just kind of a quick marketing gimmick.
Yeah, definitely a price war and a beauty contest out there. And of course, those are the sellers then that start demanding more marketing, right? They want open houses, for example. That is like the big thing all the sellers start asking for, because they're not getting showings if they're priced too high. And so what do you say to sellers that are asking for open houses this time of year?
Well, look, if they weren't really working during season when everybody was here, do we really expect them to work any better after everybody's left? And at the end of the day, if you're not getting showings because it's not priced right and all the marketing's in play and your realtor's giving you honest feedback and updates on a weekly or at least every 2-week basis, and you know what's going on with the sale of your home, an open house is not going to be what fixes it. That's not going to bail you out of this. It really comes down to what you were just saying. Is your home easily accessible? Do you know that your agent is doing everything possible to market and expose the home to the buyers that are out there? And be honest with yourself. How is your price in comparison to the other homes in your neighborhood? Then maybe an open house could be considered, but it's not going to be the answer if the other 3 things are off.
It makes a lot of sense. And National Association of Realtors' own statistic is 3% odds of selling a house at an open house.
Well, and let's say they tell agents that this is an acceptable marketing technique to find buyers and sell listings, and it only has a 3% likelihood of finding a buyer for the house that you're hosting.
Yeah, and But why do agents do it? Why do you see the same houses open over and over again and not selling? Is because 26% of buyers end up buying something else. So the agents are just using that house to get leads, which, you know, the seller, they should actually pay their seller rent, right, to do that. And so what NAR says is where the buyers really are, 9 out of 10 of them are doing all their shopping online. And actually 50% of the buyers, when they did a survey, found the house they actually bought online. They did not find it, you know, through open houses or even signs. But one good thing coming up here in the market is Hometown Heroes here in Florida. So there's $100 million of funding from the state of Florida. And what it'll do is it will give buyers 5% towards their, of the loan amount, towards their down payment and closing costs. So this program, that I think it's capped at about $35,000 of assistance on an individual sale. It does have some rules. You don't have to be a first responder. You just got to be a full-time resident of Florida. You have to have a full-time job by an employer that is based in Florida. You have to have a 640 credit score or better. You can't make over $140,000 a year in the Fort Myers Cape Coral market. And they'll give you this assistance. So on a $350,000 home, they're actually going to give you, that'll be like $17,500 of assistance. So that program starts July 1st. So anybody interested in that probably wants to get with their lender and start, you know, getting the home that they think might be the right fit for them before that, so you can jump on that program.
So what would be the next step? Would you talk to the lender, the realtor? Where would you go to find out?
Both. Yeah, you want to get connected with the lender on the program. Make sure you qualify.
Okay.
And then once you qualify, let's get out looking at houses. It's going to go fast. Usually, that money dries up in a few weeks.
Wow. Well, I imagine if you're going $100 million, there's going to be a line of people, you know, wanting to take part in that. So, talk to your lender. See if you qualify, get the qualifications down, and then that'll tell you probably what kind of homes you should be looking at with your realtor, and then line those up.
So as we wrap up here, we got summer market on our hands. Mostly local buyers buying homes, a lot of them under $500,000. That market's hot right now as the kids are out of school. Last year, June and July were rocket months. I mean, homes were selling really good. And we even are seeing what we call flying by buyers, right? They come down, they buy their slice of sunshine to enjoy next season. So those luxury homes are selling to those type of buyers right now.
They aren't, they continue. If you think about it and you look, I mean, riverfront sales, high-end gated neighborhood sales, Miramar Lakes, Renaissance, golfing communities, they all see sales all year long. Why? Because locals move around, locals have money too, and also flying by trips. I mean, buyers, especially in the luxury price points, they fly in airplanes.
Yeah.
So, believe it or not. And so they will, if they see the right home pop up for sale, it's priced right, it's got good condition, everything we talked about, and it's the one they're looking for, they'll hop in the plane and look at it.
In fact, in a weird way, their odds are a little better because there's 10% fewer homes on the market now than just a few months ago. So if you're buying or selling right now, sales are still happening. You haven't missed the boat. You still got 2 great months ahead of you to take advantage of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Take advantage of your window of time.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for all this great information today, Andrew.
And likewise, and thanks for viewing.
We want to help you with all your real estate needs.
Please feel free to call, text, or email with any questions. We'd love to help you find your slice of sunshine here in Southwest Florida.